Welcome to Birds of the Roundtable, your weekly Eagles Roundtable discussion. I'm joined tonight by, as always, my favorite co-host. Now you guys are wondering which one I'm going to say first. I'm going to say both of you are my favorite co-hosts, but I'm going to start at my top right here with the godfather of the painted lines. It is Dibes. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Dibes, how are you doing tonight?
Or not. You don't have to. I'm good, man. I'm good. As a huge film and TV nerd, there's so much happening in addition to the Philadelphia Eagles. House of the Dragon, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, is just around the corner. Just so much. But talking about Birds, man, there's a lot of reason for optimism, positivity. If you're an Eagles fan right now, we're going to break it down all tonight and preview the Cleveland Browns matchup, man. I'm excited, man.
Absolutely. And I'm going to kick it over to my other favorite co-host. You've seen him on the Philly Sports Alliance. You've seen him here. You've even seen him making some guest appearances on Chalk Talk. It is Ryan Reese. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Ryan, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. Glad to be here as always. This is, like I said, kind of my favorite show of the week for me, as I'm on multiple shows throughout the week. And yeah, I just get to relax and have some fun.
Absolutely. So we are here tonight. We're going to talk about football. We're actually finally talking about sort of real football, because we saw real football for two drives against the Jets last week. We can't talk about a full game. I mean, we're going to talk about the full game, but we're not into the regular season yet, but we are ramping up. And so we're going to break down what we saw in the Eagles-Jets game. We're going to preview a little bit the Eagles matchup against the Browns that is on Sunday. I believe it is at noon. I don't know. It drives me crazy how they schedule all these preseason games.
It's actually at 1 o'clock, so this will...
It's noon my time. That's right.
Oh, well, yeah, noon your time, yeah. But this would be nice for the rookies to... almost kind of simulate what they're going to go through on a typical Sunday. So I think I'm glad they're doing it this time.
Yeah, it drives me crazy getting a Friday night game or Thursday games in the preseason. It just doesn't seem right. But we're going to get into it here. So the Eagles started off fast in this game. They drive down, score a touchdown on their first drive on offense. And then on defense, of course, we get the pick six. So I got a comment chiming in here from Catherine Sean. It says, woo, Shane. So, thank you for joining, Kathy or Sean, whichever one of you that happens to be. A couple of friends of mine. Anyways, the Eagles defense gets an interception. Kazir White runs right through the Zach Wilson pass. And then that was really all we saw from the entire first team. And so looking at those first two drives, Ryan, I'm going to throw to you here first. Who was your Eagles first team player of the game?
I've been thinking about this one all day, honestly. And, this may seem like a cop-out, but I really think it has to be Jalen Hurts. There's so much just pressure on this guy to be perfect at all times. And, I was thinking about it. He went 6 for 6, touchdown, looked great, was rolling out. Even ran it in for a score before it got taken back. But he is scrutinized every little thing that he does, especially by the media and the fans. There's a small narrative of fans out there that honestly are probably openly rooting for him to fail, which, I don't even want to get into it. But, I think he did, a great job. Again, it's the Jets. It's preseason. There's not much weight to it. But I just think of what would have happened if he would have went 0 for 6 and looked terrible. This fan base would have lost their minds. It would have been chaos. It would have I would have been off social media because it would have been unbearable. So he did his job. He did exactly what he needed to do. I'm going to call him player of the game just because he did what he needed to do, and let's move on to the regular season.
Just piggybacking off that.
Let's see it. Let's hear it, Dibes.
Deshaun Watson went 1 of 5 for 7 yards. Could you imagine Philadelphia if Jalen Hurts put up those numbers?
We'd be jumping off of the wall with him. It'd be awful. It would literally, I would literally not be on social media. It would be unbearable.
Totally.
The amount of just hate coming down on Jalen Hurts He's not the franchise guy. Go trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's trade to other things so we can get more first rounders so we can get a guy next year. It would have been awful. I would have hated it. Life would have been miserable.
All right, so Jalen Hurts, the answer for Ryan. Dibes, what do you have for me? Who is your Eagles' first-team player of the game?
It's obvious for me. It was Cam Jurgens. Cam freaking Jurgens, man. I think his athleticism really shined on Friday night. That speed, that quickness, that agility, his ability to open holes in the running game was really impressive. He looked explosive as a run blocker. He looked really good sealing lanes, especially on that Jason Huntley touchdown run. I was just so impressed with his ability to get to the second level, occupy linebackers, pull on the outside. There wasn't a lot that he didn't do. He was top to bottom, I think, for me, my player of the game and most impressive player. There's a lot of reasons to be excited, but for me, it begins and ends with Cam Jurgens because you look at Jason Kelce. Is he going to play week 1? I think the Eagles are banking on it, but I think what an insurance policy that is in Cam Jurgens. And you start looking at these last 2 drafts. Holy cow. The Eagles are building something special on the backbone of the last 2 drafts, especially in the early rounds. It is just extremely exciting. And Cam Jurgens blew me away to the point where I think now we need to start talking or having that conversation. Like, how many snaps do you give him against the Browns? Because he looked that good.
Yeah, I want to see Cam if Jason Kelce is back. I want to see Cam Jurgens at right guard. He looked too good not to be able to go beat out Isaac Seumalo for that right guard spot. But I was really impressed by what he showed. I do think you're going to see him still play quite a bit just because he's a rookie trying to get some of those reps. But it was a pleasant surprise to watch him step in and play so well so early.
He was awesome, man. It was who was the Eagles broadcaster in the booth, just oozing, gushing. Ross Tucker is like Cam Jurgens' best friend because that dude was going absolutely bonkers. Pretty much every single run or screen or whatever about Cam Jurgens. It was hilarious. But I think that is, we'll talk about more about our expectations heading into this Browns game. But Cam Jurgens was everything and then some. I mean, like I said, you look at these last 2 drafts, Jurgens, Davis, Dean, you go back, Devontae, and so forth. Like the Eagles have impact players that are young core players to this roster, and that's like my favorite thing in the world is watching young players improve. I'm all in, man.
Yeah. So my Eagles first team player of the game is going to go to Kazir White. Yeah. Anytime you get an interception, you're a strong candidate for player of the game. If you are a linebacker that plays for the Philadelphia Eagles and you get an interception, you get like play of the year already. Like, doesn't matter what happens the rest of the season, that's play of the year because a linebacker made a freaking play, and we haven't seen that in I don't know how long.
Kiko Alonso with one hand?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
No.
That Kiko Alonso interception, somebody tweeted that play the other day and was like, what were you thinking? And I quote tweeted, I was like, I thought Chip Kelly was a genius.
Yep, absolutely.
But, yeah, I mean, and now granted, Zach Wilson could not have made a worse read. He stared that down the whole time, but still, Kazir White read it. He got in position. He made a play. That's more plays than we saw the linebackers make all of last season. So my first team player of the game is going to go to Kazir White. So
I can't believe we got a Kiko Alonso name drop on it.
I was so freaking pumped for him.
You know what I think of like Kiko? Do you remember like Kiko before he played like a single snap for the Eagles? Like he was like on vacation or something. He was like shirtless, like he's jacked.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember just like freaking out, like Broderick Bunkley style. Like, oh my God, look at how big that guy is. He's gonna be great.
I went through like a signing at a mall with him and Zachary, and he was wearing like a cutoff, and he was just like, oh my God, like this guy is gonna create some havoc. And he had such a great year at Buffalo the year before. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. Anybody who knows me, I love linebackers. I was freaking pumped. I wanted to, immediately go out and get his jersey. And yeah, wow, man, that came and crashed and burned, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Stapleton chimes in on Facebook, says, just try to do the best they can and don't get injured, in all caps. Yeah, that's the key. Coming through these preseason games healthy, which the Jets were not fortunate enough to do, and neither were several other teams. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. So let's talk a little bit more about Jalen Hurts. Ryan already mentioned him as his player of the game. Hurts goes 6 of 6 for, I believe it was 80 yards and a touchdown. He also had a rushing touchdown negated by a penalty on that first drive. Maybe a ticky-tack hold. You could convince me either way there, but either way, he showed command of the offense. He showed what you wanted to see. And, of course, he takes that late hit out of bounds, too. And so they got him out after that first series. But, Dibes, what did you make of Jalen Hurts' performance in this one?
Just like Ryan said earlier, I thought it was solid. I thought it was a solid debut. I thought he looked confident inside the pocket. I thought he made a couple of nice throws. He didn't play much, but he did leave a clean pocket once. But I'm not going to, harp on that. It's the preseason. I'm not going to overanalyze.
And then he got hit in the head out of bounds.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. But for me, is there a lot of room for him to grow still? Absolutely. But for me, it was a step in the right direction, especially when you consider, the defense has been a step or two ahead of the offense all training camp long. They looked in rhythm. They looked in sync. I love what I saw from the offense, especially A.J. Brown opening up the field for Dallas Goedert on that touchdown. I love the fact there's a lot of things that I really liked. For Jalen Hurts, it was a very good game. It was like an A- game. There's no complaints here.
All right, Ryan, what about you? Anything that you want to add after your player of the game?
Yeah, no, I perfectly said. I mean, it wasn't something to write home about. It was exactly what he needed to do. Came in there, he was there for a season or first series. And, he did his job. And he got them down to the touchdown. It was great. I had actually heard after the game that he went up to A.J. Brown. I was like, dude, I'm not even going to look your way, dude. Not even going to throw you the ball. But don't expect it. And just simply having him on the field, it felt more open. Like you said, that Goddard play. I mean, again, it just looked good. He did what he needed to do. And, yeah, it's the Jets. 1. It's preseason. 2. It's one series, basically. But, I couldn't have necessarily asked for necessarily a better performance. He did, reach the expectations that I needed to see. Now, sit on the bench for the rest of the preseason. I won't see you in there. And get ready for the Lions week 1.
Yeah, the most impressive play that Hurts made, in my opinion, this is like the second or third play of the game when he broke the pocket and he scrambled out to the right sideline, and then he found Quez Watkins downfield. Last year, Jalen Hurts runs that ball for 5 yards. This year's Jalen Hurts, he kept his eyes downfield and he picked up, it was a chunk play, and that's what I want to see. I want to see him use his mobility to extend plays and then make plays through the air. And so I really like that. I didn't like him leaving the pocket. On the play where he did get hit out of bounds. The pocket was clean. Now, we don't have all 22. It could just be nobody was open, and he's coached to run in that situation. I don't know. But I do know he bailed from that pocket clean. But I really, really liked how he kept his eyes downfield when he would break the pocket those 2 times that he did it. So that was a big plus for me with Jalen Hurts.
I also like how he just, quickly got rid of the ball to Miles Sanders for the quick dump down. Those are the little plays that I want to see Jalen Hurts take the next step. And, instead of improvising and scrambling, playing too much hero ball, just take the 4 or 5 yards, move on to the next play. And that was, I think it was just like a 5 or 6 yard pickup. But I just love seeing that. He was dead last in the NFL on checkdowns last season, among other quarterbacks. So that's definitely an area that he could easily show improvement and growth and take that next step.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, when he was rolling out, you're absolutely right. He would have definitely taken it 5 yards, even if he got 10 yards. Again, that was his, mentality. That was what he was thinking first. And I think just a few of the plays that he was out there, I felt like his decision making was, a little different, which is what we needed him to be, is to look down the field, let the play progress, use your legs to give you a few extra seconds. And that Quez Watkins play was a perfect example. And Quez made a beautiful, catch and toe tap, and yeah, it was a fantastic play overall. I loved it.
We've got Birdman _951 chiming in on YouTube, says, "What's up, fellas? Welcome to the show, Birdman." He also said the Miles Sanders injury is a big worry. I mean, is it? Can you be worried about something that you were 100% sure would happen? I mean, I don't know. I'm just not even concerned at this point. Like, when Miles Sanders plays 3 consecutive games without getting hurt, I'll be shocked. I'll fall out of my chair.
Yeah, it is like clockwork. I'm not like, I didn't even like, it didn't even faze me when I heard that he was dealing with a hamstring injury. It was like, that's that makes sense.
I cared about that so little, I didn't even put a tweet out about it.
Yeah, same here.
I saw it and I was like, okay, whatever. But I did put out a tweet. I don't know if you guys saw this. I want to share this because this was how my thought process, my mentals went during that preseason game. So, we tell her preseason doesn't matter. And then around halftime, so I had to throw this up here. It's just the preseason. Preseason is meaningless. Inhales. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. That's just that roller coaster you have to fight. You have to ride during the preseason. And,
I gotta tell you, I really think about how, is this the way other fan bases are?
No.
Are we just so special that we just overreact to everything and just freak out about the littlest things? Yes. And hate on our own players. Like, I would just love to just be a fly on the wall on some other organizations and just see how their fans are, because I'd love to know.
They don't care.
You might be right on that one.
They probably have an amazing weekend, a relaxing weekend of family time and more family time. Where I'm just like pacing back and forth in my living room, just dying because freaking Miles Sanders gets a hamstring injury. I don't know. Like, it's ridiculous.
So speaking of the Miles Sanders injury, Birdman chimes in again. He says he thinks Howie should get a running back, go acquire a running back. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
They will. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it all.
Yeah, I hope they get somebody honestly decent, and not just the random person that gets released this week. There are a few names out there. Obviously, the Eagles could certainly be interested in. I actually am a pretty big fan of Kareem Hunt.
Are you?
I like his style. I think him having a chance to be the number one guy again. I think he would absolutely love to run behind this offensive line. And yeah, whatever happens with Sanders happens. But I'd love to have somebody of that skill level here rather than Sanders personally.
They're gonna get a bruiser at some point. It might not be at the end of preseason. It might not be week 6. It could be week 8, week 10. They will be adding to the running back core.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
For sure.
All right, let's roll on. What offensive play were you most impressed by after the first drive? So most of the starters come out on the first drive. Ryan, who were you impressed by throughout the rest of the game?
This one was a tough one. I really liked the play of Huntley. I thought he is a good Eagle. He just tries hard. He just I don't know. I just get that feeling from him that, like, I don't know. I just really like him, and I thought he had a good game with what he was given. Obviously, it's against not the number ones, but yeah, I know there's most likely not a place for him on this team, but I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for him, and just love to see more of him, honestly.
All right, Dibes. What about you? Who's somebody that stood out to you on offense?
I'm just like geeking out because I had a tab on my thing open that said it was a Google search of Kiko Alonso shirtless, and I'm like, oh my god, what's my wife gonna think of? Is that?
You have some explaining to do, dude.
I kind of course, I cheated here. Shane, why don't you go first, and I'll go last.
Okay. So mine is going to be Cam Jurgens. Dibes already talked about him a little bit. He ran with the second team too, played a good portion of the game. And for all the reasons that Dibes said, I didn't talk much about him when Dibes did because I knew I was going to talk about him again, but he just played so well. And he was not Jason Kelce. I mean, there's a difference in the level of their play, but he looked like him. He moved like him in space. He held his own on the interior. He's just such an athletic player. And so Cam Jurgens really impressed me. I don't have fears. I don't have the fears of Jason Kelce retiring like I used to because I think they've got the replacement there. Yeah. And I think once Kelsey's back, I think that Jurgens could really threaten for that right guard spot to take that from Isaac Seumalo. So I was really impressed by Jurgens in this one.
Love it. Birdman _951 says Cam looked really good. He thinks Greg Ward is on the way out. Man, you're killing me. You're absolutely killing me.
Gone. Get him out of here.
I'm like the last Greg Ward fan here among us, I believe. Mike says, I've never seen a rookie center play that well in his first game ever. It was incredible. It was.
Hey, that's not fair. I too like Greg Ward, and I will root for whatever XFL team that he lands on next month.
All right, I'm go for a play here. But the offensive coach that I was most impressed by with the first drive was my guy, Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni going AWOL against the refs, against Quincy Williams, against Browns, man, when he went nuts when Jalen Hurts got that cheap shot. That was awesome, man. That's the kind of stuff that will get an entire Eagles offense rallying around their head coach. That's the stuff that will send a message. It's the stuff that establishes a culture. And more importantly, I love Nick Sirianni's tempo on that first drive, man. Going pass. The Eagles improving their passing attack, getting the ball downfield, being more efficient through the air. That is directly correlated to getting a playoff win or two in 2022, man. So Nick Sirianni was my most impressive offensive guy. He was awesome. The main takeaway, I mean, there were so many positives, but Nick Sirianni forever, man. He is impressed. He impressed me last season, and he continues to do so in 2022.
All right. Well, that's not an offensive player, but that's your one cheat.
Come on, yeah. He's gotta get one in, right?
I always do. I'm
going to throw it right back to you here, Dibes, and I'm going to ask, what defensive player were you most impressed with after the first drive?
Shit. I'm gonna go.
It's going to be Jonathan Gannon.
You already picked Kaiser White. Let's go Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis was absolutely fantastic. The way he was picking up double teams from the jump, just dominating Connor McGovern, who was like a middle of the pack center in the NFL. This weekend is going to be really interesting because that's not going to be the case. He's going against a top 5 center in the NFL, and that's going to be a ton of watch. I'm going to break that down a little bit. But for me, it was Jordan Davis and him just swallowing guys on the interior. I can't wait. I can't wait to see that guy in a full regular season game getting snaps. And what he means to Jonathan Gannon's system and that multiple scheme defense. He was mostly a nose tackle. Javon Hargrave didn't play. There's a lot of reasons to be excited about what this guy's going to do. Not necessarily putting up stats, but setting up the guys on the edges and getting home in 2022. I put out a highlight reel, and there's Cowboy fans and Giants fans, I'm assuming, already panicking because their response is that, oh my God, what a bust. He didn't get a freaking sack in the amount of snaps he played. Like, they're not watching the game. They have no idea what an interior defensive lineman is like Jordan Davis is supposed to be doing. The fact that he's just swarmed and had double teams in his first NFL game, absolutely impressive. Jordan Davis is my guy.
Yeah. All right. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Davis obviously was very impressive. And just to piggyback, I absolutely love it when people get upset with nose tackles, D tackles for not putting up stats. Guess what? Aaron Donald is the exception.
Yeah.
Everybody else, it's not what they do. Please, educate. But anyway, I think we all know who I'm going to go here. That's Jacoby Dean. Right. I mean, the fact of just him and Davis, seeing the both of them doing exactly what they did at Georgia, where Davis is plugging holes, taking bodies, and Dean just boom, boom, and just hits his holes. He had a tackle for loss, 5 total tackles. I thought he played really well. And again, the fact of the matter is we got this kid in the 3rd round because of injury concerns. And I will knock on wood, but man, did he look like there were no injury concerns for him. He looked like he was flying around. And again, this is his first NFL experience, and I thought he handled it beautifully. Thought he looked great. And him and Jordan Davis, my God, is going to be a tag team tandem for years. And I cannot wait. Can't wait.
That play alone just had me smiling so hard. That one play where Jordan Davis blew up McGovern, and then Jacoby Dean came in for a tackle for loss, man. That is a preview. That is a legit preview of the next 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, he was getting – Jordan Davis, excuse me, was getting double teamed. Even at one point, technically was getting triple teamed. But there were literally 3 guys that were just standing around him. And that is exactly what you want him to do. He is so massive. He is already in his first game just generating that, buzz, that attention. It's going to make, oh my God, it's going to make everybody's job so much friggin' easier. I can't wait for this defense to really get into that groove where they're really feeding off each other. I'm telling you, this is going to be an amazing defense this year. Just watch.
Yeah. Maybe we should just keep drafting players from Georgia. That's all I'm saying.
We're just SEC I'm fine with.
Georgia. Just draft from Georgia. That's it.
Bama and Georgia. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Right?
Who knew? The best conference in the country with the best teams and the best NFL prospects.
We've only been saying it for 10 years.
We got Mike J chiming in on YouTube, says they were doubling Jordan Davis on the first series. He's going to be a Pro Bowler really soon. I don't know about Pro Bowl because Pro Bowl is kind of a joke and it's just name recognition, but he's going to be a major piece for the defense. And Jordan Davis is my guy that I'm listing out here too. Just the amount of double teams that he was drawing, and he was drawing double teams like that with some good players on the field next to him. It's not like this was in the second half when he was playing with, third stringers and grocery baggers. He was out there with guys that are going to be in the rotation for the Eagles. He was out there with Fletcher Cox at some points. He was getting the double team. He's just going to play such a massive role for this defense. And just to see that's what I was most excited to see, was to see him on the field and the way he pushed the pocket. And, my favorite play was one of my favorite plays was the one that Zach Wilson got injured on, where he sheds his block, he penetrates that field, and then he's running Zach Wilson down from behind. Like, he was keeping up and closing on Zach Wilson. He's just such a freak athlete, and it's going to be so fun to see what he's able to do in this defense. Oh, yeah. So let's roll on to our next question here, and that is, what players do you think helped themselves the most in position battles? So Ryan, I'll lead it off with you here. Who's a player that you think might have helped himself out in a position battle?
Um, I don't know if it necessarily a position battle, but it's more or less of making the team, I guess. And I thought, I thought Josh Joby has been, not only having a good camp, showing himself up, but I thought he played pretty solid. And I think, if I had to make a decision right now, I think he'd probably make the team. He's obviously fighting for a spot being an undrafted free agent, but, again, SEC, Alabama, he has that pedigree. And, he's showing he most likely belongs in this league and on this team.
All right. So Josh Jobe for Ryan. Dibes, how about you? Who's somebody that you thought helped themselves here?
I have three. Wow. My man, Mike J, coming in with the Reed Blankenship. He's making the team. I'm going to lead off with that because he was one of my three. I'll be making these top 5 players to watch videos every week, and Reed Blankenship was on my top 5. I'm going to kind of spoil that here, but talk about Reed Blankenship. The guy led the Eagles with 8 tackles against the Jets. He wasn't terrific in coverage, but he was really good against the run. You look at that safety depth, that's easily kind of the most open roster spot on defense right now. He's been getting the majority of his reps with the third string. You look at Anthony Harris, you look at Jaquiski Tart, those guys continue to disappoint. You look at Blankenship, he has really good size, he has pretty good athleticism, and he's had a really strong camp. I want to see what this guy's got against the Cleveland Browns. I think this guy could kind of shock some people and actually make the final roster. I think Sunday's game is huge for this dude. You know he's going to be a very good special teamer. Reed Blankenship is definitely a guy to watch out for, kind of coming out of nowhere. And I've got 2 more, Shane, after you.
Oh, go ahead. Throw him out here.
All right. Yep. My next guy to watch out for is Noah Togiai.
I think
Togiai. Noah Togiai is definitely kind of opening up some arms. He had 4 catches and 29 yards against the Jets. He's definitely kind of on that bubble. Will he make the roster? Will he not? But he's had a really good camp, probably the second best tight end after Dallas Goedert. Him and Reed Sinnett definitely have chemistry. I think that's going to help him a lot against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. He's a solid run blocker as well. So for me, Noah Togiai is definitely a name to watch out for. I think Richard Rodgers is on the way out. You look at J-Jaw getting shipped out. I think Noah Togiai could be a guy to watch out for making the final roster. And then my number 1, though, TJ Edwards. The disrespect that TJ Edwards needs to stop. The dude was probably arguably the best player during Eagles training camp on defense. From the jump, him and Brandon Graham swarming on that first defensive play. The Eagles threw a ton of competition at TJ Edwards this offseason, and he's been a huge standout. He's clearly taken that next step in his development. For me, TJ Edwards is the starter. And I don't think we talk about that enough. His development in coverage could be something that really is a difference maker in 2022.
All right. Well, since Dibe stole everybody else, I am going to go with my guy that helped himself the most in a position battle is the Eagles punter, Aaron Sipas, who technically isn't in a position battle because he's the only punter on the roster. But I think it was widely expected after how he closed out the year that the Eagles would take a punter in the draft. When they moved around and they didn't end up making a lot of draft picks, it was pretty widely expected that they were going to pick up one that somebody cuts during these cut down days, that they were going to bring in a vet for a competition. And he had a strong showing. He had 5 punts. He averaged 46 yards per punt, and he dropped 2 inside the 20. And that's fine. That's fine. That's acceptable as a punter. Him showing that he was a little bit back on track where he struggled so badly down the stretch last year probably helps him out. Maybe the Eagles won't bring in another punter here to push him for a roster spot. We've got Mike J chiming in here. He says Taron Jackson looked good too. I had high hopes for him, and he showed up. Our last few drafts have been fantastic. They definitely have.
Can I add one more?
Sure.
No. I'll also add Gardner Minshew is the number 2 quarterback on this team. Like, there's no way around that. Reed Sinet's not gonna be real competition for.
But was that anything that he did, or was that more what Reed?
Yeah,
what Reed didn't do. I was not impressed with Reed Sinet.
Not at all.
So for me, Gardner Minshew, check. He's in good shape right now.
I would say it's not technically a position battle because he's clearly the wide receiver 4, but I thought Zach Pascal looked good too.
Yeah,
and he probably not cemented, but he's taking steps towards being more of a part of that rotation. Whereas I expected there to be a clear-cut 3 and then a big drop-off. I think he's going to get a decent amount of reps as that wide receiver 4, and I was pleasantly surprised by what he showed.
Yep, fully agree.
So let's jump over to the other side of this question. So the roster is down to 85 players now. They have to be cut down to 80 by next Tuesday. Ryan, give me a name that won't be on the roster next Tuesday.
Man, I really want to say one name that I know I'll get a reaction, but I don't think this person will be cut this early. So I'll save it. I won't hurt anybody's feelings.
I know where you're going with
you
that.
You can say Greg Ward. It's okay.
I was going to say Greg Ward. I mean, you might as well, cut him now, and then maybe you might be able to, pick up somewhere else or something. I mean, he's not a terrible player. Doesn't really fit, but no, man, this one's tough. I mean, there are a few names that I think are probably. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to say Greg Ward. Screw it.
All right. Dives, care to respond to that?
Greg Ward.
Listen, it's kind of like a half joke. Greg Ward has had his time in Philly. He's had some good moments. It's time to move on. This Eagles offense is on just a different level compared to when he was the number 1 receiver on this roster. Mike J says Kayvon Wallace. I'm not going to go Kayvon Wallace. I think a very obvious name here is Jaquiski Tart. I think Tart's definitely on the way out on this roster. There's definitely safeties that have been making a name for themselves. I've never bit on the Jaquiski Tart hype. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I think that could be a guy that's on the out. And the other guy that I think is on the out is Richard Rodgers. I think he is definitely on the short list of guys that are probably off the bubble rather than looking in. And maybe Kennedy Brooks too. Who knows what's going to happen with Kennedy Brooks?
I mean, Kennedy Brooks, he won't make the roster, I don't think. But I think they're going to try to keep him on the practice squad. I highly doubt he's going to get cut. But
yeah,
I could be wrong. We'll see. I just as I talk here, I just want to roll this clip because I also believe that Jaquiski Tart is gone. Jaquiski Tart stinks. Like, he's always stunk. This is the best play Jaquiski Tart's ever made.
Jeez, that is rough. That's brutal.
I told people when Jaquiski Tart got signed that he stunk, that he would not push for a starting job on this team. He's buried on the depth chart. He's looked awful in camp. And I will agree with Mike J. I think Kayvon Wallace could be on his way out too. I think there's a chance both of those guys are gone. They traded J-Jaw for Hugo Amadi, which is another one of those slot corner / has some safety versatility. And they've got so many of those guys on the roster right now. I just can't see you keeping – Tart was brought in to be a veteran presence. He stinks. He's not providing anything. You're not going to give a roster spot to him over some of these young hybrid guys. So I think he's gone, and I think Kayvon Wallace could potentially be gone as well. And I'm really surprised. I was shocked when you said Jaquiski Tart. I thought that was going to be a little bit of a spicy take for me.
Nah, man. I was never on the Trubisky train. Not once. Not once.
All right, so let's roll on to Sunday. On Sunday, the Eagles travel to Cleveland to face the Browns. 1:00 kickoff time. How much, if any, do you think the starters should play? Not how much will they play, but how much should they play, Dives?
Like, am I giving you like my?
You're Nick Sirianni. How much are you playing your starters?
Probably nothing. No, for real. Like, they'll probably. I'm not even going to give a quarter. I'm not even going to give like a half. It's a feel thing. It's got to be a feel thing. What you want is, to positively reinforce this Eagles offense, just like against the Jets. If they have 2 back-to-back series where they go down and put 7 points on the scoreboard back-to-back, get them off the field. Like there's nothing else to win. It's the preseason. It's vanilla. There's nothing to show that we won't know by like week 3 or 4. So for me, it's all a feel thing. That's got to be the route to go there if you're Nick Sirianni. So if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't play him because preseason means absolutely nothing. But a lot of people are going to say, well, Jalen Hurts needs to, get snaps and get reps. They're going to learn more in the joint practices. You're going to see more in those situations where you see kind of contrived situations and different things like that. You're not going to see that in a preseason game. For me, I'll probably go like 2 or 3 series at most.
Yeah, Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with Dibes there. I wouldn't personally, but I know that they're going to, and I think 2 series is probably all that I'll give them. Go down, score a touchdown, come back, go down, score a touchdown, end your day, go relax on the bench. Yeah, I mean, again, preseason at this point, 2022 does not matter at all. Does not matter at all. Maybe it did 20 years ago a little bit, but man, it doesn't. It doesn't anymore. I'm sorry. So hell, maybe even only 1 series. If he goes 6 for 6 again and another touchdown, get him out of there. Forget him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mike J is willing to bet you a gallon of ShopRite iced tea the starters don't play until the Lions game. Do we have any takers?
I would love it. I would agree with you. I would love that. So
it says we should leave Jalen with the perfect preseason. So here's where I'm at. Like, I would like to get him a series. I'd like to give the offense a series, go score a touchdown. I'd like to give the defense a series, get them out. The problem is, what do you do if you put the offense out there and they go 3 and out? Well, you can't take them off the field on that. You got to put them back out there again, or the defense gives up a touchdown. And I really don't want to get into playing these guys more than a series. So if I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm just sitting them down. Doesn't matter. We're going to get it. We're going to get our joint practices. I would let guys like Cam Jurgens play. I'd probably let Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal play. But my top starters, they wouldn't see the field.
Yeah.
Now, is that going to happen? I have no idea. I don't think so. I think they'll probably handle it similarly to the Jets game, but we'll see. So what are you guys expecting? What are you watching for on Sunday when you watch this Browns game?
I think what anybody's hoping to see is if the starters play like your starters. Go down there and do your job. Offense, go down, score a touchdown. Defense, go ahead, stop them. Don't have to be a 3 and out. I'm not asking for perfection, but yeah, do your job and get out of there injury free. That's all I care about. Just look good, look decent. Even I don't even care. You don't even have to look great. Just because, again, I know that this ultimately does not matter, and ultimately, I wouldn't doubt that a lot of some starting vets couldn't give 2 craps about preseason. So I don't need that. I don't need anything to write home about. Just do your job. Get out there, show something decent. Get out of there without injuries. That's all I want.
Dives, what are you expecting to see on Sunday?
Yeah, on offense, I want to see that the matchup. I'm sorry, on defense, I want to see the front seven get to the quarterback. I want to see signs of getting to the quarterback. Jordan Davis against J.C. Treader is going to be a really fun matchup. J.C. Treader is a top 5 center in the game, and if he plays, that's going to be a really good matchup because Connor McGovern's a good starter. He's a quality starter. J.C. Treader is terrific, and if you see Jordan Davis blowing up J.C. Treader, my goodness, it's going to be absolutely on Eagles Twitter on Sunday afternoon. And again, I want to see the Eagles, get some sacks. I don't think they had any against the Jets. So I'd like to see at least a couple sacks. Hassan Reddick, I don't know. That would be a lot of fun. Offensively, I kind of want to just see more of the same, honestly. The Eagles need to continue to work on moving the ball downfield. They need to continue to build Jalen Hurts' confidence and poise and footwork inside that pocket. I want to see more of that, just like we saw against the Jets. And I'm good. I want to see Kenny Gainwell. I'm going to be releasing my video on guys that I want to see on Sunday. Kenny Gainwell is on the top of my list. You guys know I'm a really big Kenny Gainwell fan. I think in situational type of things like third down and as a receiver out of the backfield and different things like that, I think Kenny Gainwell has a huge presence on this roster and just so much untapped potential. Will he take that next step, though, on the ground as a runner? That's what I want to see from Kenny Gainwell. So, yeah. And Devontae's back. I want to see kind of that same stuff. If the starters do play, I want to see A.J. Brown open up opportunities for Devontae. Let's get this Eagles offense with a little pre-snap motion. That's something we didn't see a lot last season. Why don't we see Devontae in the slot, moving pre-snap, get him in space. These are all areas that are easy fixes to get Devontae going in space and utilize that amazing route running and quickness and speed. So I would like to see Devontae get a couple catches.
Yeah, see, I don't want Devontae to play, but I do want to see Kenny Gainwell. I would like to see him get more of those carries that Jason Huntley got. So I'm hoping to see some mileage on him. I would definitely like to see Jordan Davis against J.C. Treader. I don't know if they'll play him or not, but I would really like to just see how he stacks up there. I have a feeling he would stack up pretty favorably. I want to see Nakobe Dean too. Yeah, Mike just hit it. He wants to see Nakobe Dean have a good game with and without Jordan Davis. I'm the same. Nakobe Dean's a guy that I would play, assuming the medicals check out, which they obviously do, or he wouldn't have already been on the field. At this point, he's a second stringer for the Eagles, which seems crazy to say. So get him out there, get him some reps. Those are the types of guys that I would be playing. Those guys that aren't clear starters but have starter upside. Get him some reps. Get him on the field. Davion Taylor, I would like to see Davion Taylor, put together a good game. So that's kind of what I'm watching for in this game, is that second tier of players that has some developmental upside, that has some spot starter capability right now if injuries strike. Those are the types of guys that I'm really interested to watch in this game. I would also like to see Jalen Reagor have a 100-yard game so we can trade him. Because I swear the amount that he was getting targeted in that second quarter, I said on Twitter, they're just trying to pump up his value for a trade. They're going to get rid of him. So I hope I'm right. Let's get him out of Philly.
I would also like to see a little, better game from those third stringers. I mean, I know it's third string, but, too many penalties. I'd like to see Jack Driscoll kind of get back in rhythm. I was shocked to see kind of his fall from grace there a little bit. That was I wasn't ready to watch that, considering how high I was on him this offseason. And obviously, I want to see better play from Reed Sinnett. I want to see Carson Strong. I know he's had a horrible training camp. Throw him out there, man. Let's see what he's got. He didn't play at all versus the Jets. Let's see what we got in Carson Strong.
Yeah, I feel bad now that I just was so general with my my expectations. real specific. I don't feel like I'm going to pay enough attention, like live watching it. Like that's why I tape it and I'll go back and I'll watch. But watching it live, I'm just enjoying Eagles football, and I'm just hoping a general good sense of the game goes by. But yeah, I mean, if I had to be real specific, yeah, I want to see I want to see our safeties do better. I think we've all kind of understood that our safeties are the weak point of this defense, and not only the starters but the depth. We obviously mentioned Tart, who's probably not making the team after a pretty poor performance thus far through training camp. But where has Kavon Wallace been?
Yeah.
He's nowhere to be found. This was supposed to be the year he steps up, and we're talking about an undrafted, free agent in Reed Blankenship that's most likely gonna take time away from him. So, yeah, I really just want them to step up. I feel like, Harris is what Harris is. Like, I have no expectations of him. Just all I want you to do is not to suck. Just be. Honestly, just be average. But yeah, I think the rest of them, I would love for them to kind of step up a little bit and play better. Honestly,
I have one more comment on this one. Just piggybacking off the whole depth or lack of depth on the Eagles. I looked up the Phillies schedule. The Phillies don't play until 7:00 on Sunday. So like last Friday's game against the Jets, the terrible play from the Eagles in that second half, they won't be able to rely on the Phillies come from behind and win against Max Scherzer and the Mets to kind of divert my attention and forget the trash that's happening on that football field. So that is something.
Yeah, so I'm not actually going to get to watch this game live. I'm going to have to try to catch a replay of it later. I'm actually going to be gone on Sunday. So you guys are going to have to keep me posted. There will be no live game tweets from me on Sunday, unfortunately, but I'm going to check that out later. We got Mike chiming in with a $10 donation on YouTube. Mike, thank you very much. Always appreciate you guys being in the comments, sharing our feeds, and if you feel so inclined, we always appreciate donations. Thanks, man. Well. He said Patrick Johnson and Kyron Johnson need to show out. If Reddit goes down, we need depth. And good job, guys. Great topics. Again, really appreciate you. Thanks for joining in on the show. Awesome. Always good to see you in the chat.
And it's yellow. Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean that was kind of an area I thought the Eagles were a little better than maybe I expected. We'll see how they show up against the Browns, but offensive line wise, depth, I didn't have any issue with the Eagles' depth. They didn't really show me anything there. So especially defensively, they didn't get any sacks against the Jets at all. I think they gave up 5 sacks against the Jets, and the Jets do not have a great pass rush. Again, we're nitpicking preseason football, which means absolutely nothing. But just something. It's something.
You know what it means when we're nitpicking preseason football, right?
Things are good.
We're itching.
I was going to say it's time to throw out some final thoughts and get out of here. So, Brian, I'm going to jump to you first here. You got any final thoughts? Anything you need to get off your chest before we get out of here today?
I cannot wait for September 11th. It cannot come soon enough. I need real football. I think every year you lead up and you go, ooh, training camp is starting, and you get excited for like a day. And then you're like, all right, like I'll just hear the updates. And then, ooh, preseason started. And you go in there and you watch 30 seconds and you're like, wow, this is terrible. And you go away. And now I'm at that point now where I need regular season so I can just relax and just have a good fall and a good winter and watch some Eagles football. So I thought the starters did a decent job. Obviously room for improvement, But again, it's preseason. I'm not expecting a lot. I don't need to see a lot. Just don't be terrible. Yeah.
All right. We've got Jay chiming in on YouTube. Says, "What's up, fellas? Is that Thomas?" I don't know who that is, but it's not him. I don't know who that is.
All right. Thomas Mott is an on-air host for Radio Mott. He's an Eagles host for Chat Sports. So.
Okay.
Okay.
It is not. That is my man Ryan Reese with Philly Sports Alliance. So give him a follow on Twitter. Make sure you are subscribed to their YouTube. This show goes out there. It goes out on the Painted Lines wherever you're watching. Thank you guys for joining in. Dibes, do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Final thoughts on this game. I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of what I was talking about earlier when we first started the show. You look at the last two drafts. I know there's a lot of Howie haters out there, but you got Devontae, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Zach McPherson, Kenny Gainwell. You go to this past draft, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, man. And then I know people are going to be hyper focused on, there are some people out there that say Super Bowl or bust for the Eagles. That's not a fact. You look at 2023, they're going to have 2 first-round picks. The Eagles are building something special here. There's still a great unknown at quarterback. It's 50-50 at this point. But regardless, it's being built on young players, young cores on the offensive line, on the defensive line. And that is just incredibly exciting. Incredibly exciting. So that's my take as an NFL draft nut job. I've already scouted a significant chunk of the 2023 class. And that's my favorite thing in all sports. So plugs tomorrow night for my other show. We have the greatest MCU moments of all time live draft. It is going to be 10 teams selecting 5 of their greatest MCU moments ever, like fantasy football snake style draft. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm not in it. I'm taking a break because I already won a draft. We do a whole season thing. Surprise. Nice little flex there by me. So I'm taking this one off, but I'm really excited. So She-Hulk starts on Thursdays. On Thursday this week. So there will be reviews of She-Hulk coming. House of the Dragon coming on Sunday. The first 2 episodes of the new Lord of the Rings show is just a week away. There's so much. Andor, the new Star Wars show, looks absolutely terrific. Then you've got Cobra Kai. That is just a couple of weeks away. It is absolutely insane how much TV and film content is coming for my other podcast, and that's called The Suit Up Geeks. On Party on Broad, I did a show with my man Dylan from DSM Media, doing the same stuff here, talking about the Browns game. Go check that out. You can expect my top 5 players to watch for the Browns game coming either tomorrow or Thursday. I've pretty much spoiled my top 5 on this show.
Love it.
A little bit. But yeah, that'll be going. And of course, you can always expect all the highlight reels, all that kind of stuff. Jalen Hurts, every play, reaction videos, you name it. So thank you, everyone, for watching.
All right. Be sure you give Dibes a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. He pumps out more content than anybody I've ever seen.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Mike J., I fully agree with this take. Thor Love and Thunder was such a disappointment.
Ooh, I haven't seen it yet, and now I may not.
Now you really want it, oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I have lower expectations than I already did.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was a very frustrating film. It's like one of those Zack Snyder films. There's bits and pieces of it that are amazing, but they don't give you enough of it, and there's no cohesion. It was absolutely butchered in post-production. The best thing about the movie was Christian Bale's villain, Gore the God Butcher, and they literally took out 15 to 20 minutes of content of his character, which how does that happen? How does someone make that decision? And it just makes me so angry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, make sure you're giving Dibes a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. He pumps out draft content, film content, all the content. You guys check all that out. You can follow me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. Madden 23 just launched yesterday, and I've got a couple of gameplay videos already up on the Painted Lines YouTube channel. So you can go check those out. I'll be doing some live streaming, maybe tomorrow. So you can keep an eye open for that. I'm not very good at the game yet, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Also, you can check out tomorrow morning at 11 Eastern time. I'm going to be live talking to Johnny Page from Bleeding Green Nation from across the pond, my first international guest from England. And so he's got great film content. If you haven't checked out any of his stuff, he's done lots of player studies. He does film threads on Twitter. I'm really excited to sit down with him and kind of break down some of these Eagles players a little more in depth. So be sure you check that out. Make sure you are subscribed. Thank you to everyone who joined us, Jay, Mike, Bird, that dropped. Appreciate you guys. You guys' comments are what makes this so much fun for us. So we will be back next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We'll be reacting to the Browns game, talking about whoever we play with 3. I don't even.
Dolphins.
Getting you guys ready. The Dolphins, getting you guys ready for the regular season. So from me, from Dibes, from Ryan, the Painted Lines, Philly Sports Alliance, thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next time.